All right, so our old friend, after 2 weeks, Dawn Barber, is back, and we're going to spend just a few minutes talking about DLD, which I mentioned before. Burda is a big German media company. Dr. Hubert Burda is the founder. He's 80-something years old, I think. He loves technology. He's always loved it until the moment he realized that the internet was not going to make a huge fortune for him. He's a very social guy. He loves to introduce everybody. So they started this company called DLD to have conferences in Munich, and Steffi Czerny and Dominic Wiekman brought it to New York. This is the third year.
And Yossi Vardy as well.
And Yossi Vardy, well known in the tech world. Yes. Yossi's always the character. And so they had the conference here this week, and it's really kind of nice because it brings media, technology, pour among yourselves, and cool people here to New York, which makes us happy. So Dawn was there, I was there, and should we just talk about a few highlights?
Sure.
Did you have some?
Absolutely. Well, I'll just say in general, what I love about DLD is it truly, I know it sounds sort of trite and corny to say, but I think Steffi in particular, it really wants it to feel very familial and very warm and welcoming. So here are people who came actually not from New York City and actually not even from the United States, who came here, and a lot of these other tech conferences, I won't name names, sort of come from other places, and it's like, bam, and we're here, and you have to, get on board. And they did it in the more, I think, human and appealing to me, gentle and sort of more inclusive European way. So I applaud them for that. So the first time I went to DLD was actually in Munich, not here. So I've been going for a while. So I think they really do also a good job of, we tend to be, and I in particular tend to be so New York centric in the tech world. And so the first time I went to DLD in Munich, I was so glad to not see so many people that I recognize. I'm used to just hanging around people that I know. I love the people I know, but to sort of, see this other world. So I felt that was there, and I didn't know if they'd be able to bring that here, and I think they really have. So there's a lot of people I know there, but then there's a lot of the European contingent that I don't.
Let me give you a sample of some of the things that they did. So I started off with Doug Rushkoff, who's a friend of ours, a wonderful guy, throwing rocks at the Google bus. From Queens College. He's part of the CUNY family. Yeah. But they start off with a guy who's talking about trying to bring a Marxist analysis to technology and the economy.
Talk about controversial.
Yeah, which is great. That's exactly what they
Doug.
do. So that was wonderful.
I love that.
Isn't that great?
No, Doug is brilliant,
Doug's
if not controversial. And he's been that way actually for many years. So this is just his latest, sort of culmination.
Somebody's got to do that.
Yeah, he's got, and again, we love Doug, right? Because he, I quote Doug all the time. It's like, I want to be on Team Human. That's, Team Human.
We'll get
and
Doug
that's
on the
what,
show.
Yes,
because
you have to
he's
do
a great
that.
guy.
Yeah.
And he and I disagree about a lot, but in a wonderful, friendly way.
Right. Well, there's the, sort of I want to be on board with Doug's utopia. I want that.
Well, he's both utopian and dystopian.
But he's also
dystopian a bit about the technology and where are we going. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So then they also had some bots and a guy named, my handwriting is so awful, I can't read it. Joshua Browder, who amazed me. He's a freshman at Stanford, of course, Brit. He wanted to fight some traffic tickets he got, or some parking tickets he got. Right. So he created a bot to do this. And he learned that it wouldn't really work until he brought in AI. And so now he's helped thousands of people not pay money on their parking tickets.
What?
By using a robot lawyer.
My husband will be very, very impressed.
Robot lawyer.
So it'll quiz you. It'll quiz you about what you need. It will.
What do you mean? What you need?
When did you park? And what was this? What was that? Then it'll prepare a legal document for you.
Oh my God.
And just send that off. On the same stage was Dennis Mortensen from XAI.
Very cool.
Have you used that yet, Amy?
I haven't really used it for dates, although I am sort of on it, because I find that I know there's a lot of things like that. I think actually Dennis does a really great job, but I find that sometimes when it gets it wrong, I had one screw up recently that got it wrong. And it's just like, just email me. I'm really short and sweet.
Well,
if
you're also very human.
Right.
Like you like to be with people.
Exactly.
What are you talking
So I'm
about?
sorry, that's right. You did it. So
Good point.
Exactly.
this is a new game. We'll talk about it, but let her guess what it is. How's
Okay,
that?
wait, can I guess?
Okay, guess.
Okay.
It is some sort of like automated schedule emailing app.
Well
Hey,
done.
we weren't so
and a
bad.
free mug
We were-
goes to Julia.
Cheers.
Thank
Yes,
you,
exactly.
Oprah.
So what you do is you say, I want to bring in Amy. I don't know why they made it a woman's name, by the way.
No, they have Andrew too.
Oh my
do?
God!
Oh.
Or is Andrew
I
another
thought that
one?
You were calling her the wrong name. I was like, why are you calling Dawn Amy?
Yeah, no, the first time you get one of these things, if you don't realize, then it's like, who the hell's
Amy
Andrew
is like
too,
Alexa?
although Andrew might be
Yes.
another one, so
They
I might be totally
So you
screwing
bring,
that up.
you bring
They should
in
make it a
Amy,
dude.
and Amy helps. They should.
I
yeah.
want to be served by a robot person. Dude.
Yeah.
Robot dude. Anyway.
We will mess it up.
okay.
We'll mess it up.
Correct. You're 100%
But he
there was
uses
that.
AI, right, to so to take the pain out of like, oh, Thursday, no, I can't do Thursday. What about
like a
Saturday?
Google
What about next
Doodle,
week?
but like interactive.
Right. It's a system,
That's great.
virtual assistant scheduler.
So if you were Wolfgang Krach, the wonderfully named Wolfgang Krach.
I did not see him.
He was from the Süddeutsche Zeitung, which led the entire Panama Papers.
Oh.
All the Panama Papers came to him, so it was really amazing to see him up on stage talking about that, and how they had the thing that he admitted to. It amazed him. 400 journalists didn't let it out. That they kept the secret for that long was just phenomenal. But he said that they indeed did get an email from someone they don't know who it is, who said, "I have a lot of data for you. You want it?" Yeah. And so these two guys came to the boss and said, "We need a computer." Okay. They came back and they said, "We need another computer." And they came back again. They said, "We need another computer." And they said, "This thing is too big for us to handle. We need collaborators." And I think that there's a lot of talk going on in my wonky world of journalism these
Right.
days.
So yeah,
That we're really moving toward a collaborative world, and I think that's a wonderful thing where we have to do that. We can't do it alone. So that's good. So that was interesting.
talk about in terms of Snowden and
Well,
opening
in
up
terms of like,
information and
we now have at BuzzFeed, there are data people who are embedding to like figure out how we use data. And Jeremy Singer Vine is a tremendous data journalist who works at BuzzFeed. And you can sign up for different listservs because you're interested. I've never used data to do investigative journalism. It's like another planet from what I do. But I'm on the data listserv and I just see like such interesting ideas coming through where somebody sends an email and says like, look, we have this data set. What can we do with it? How can we translate it? And then, the really good things get 8, 9, 10 people collaborating, lighting things up, saying, oh no, let's do this, let's do that. How can we uplift it?
Yeah, I was thinking, I wish at the event at DLD, they also had David Kenny, who's the new head of Watson, IBM Watson. If you think, and he's doing a great job of really making Watson, David came from Publicis before, and then Akamai, and then the Weather Channel. So he's a marketer at heart. And they're making Watson human. You look at all the commercials
They're
they're doing
trying.
that. They're
Right,
trying to.
right.
But I wondered if you took all the Panama Papers and put it into I don't know what they're doing technologically yet, to try to find the new patterns, to try to find the anomalies, to try to figure out what's going on. And there's huge opportunities there, and you can't do that as a lone journal walk sitting at a desk.
But I question whether you can try to do it, but then, how far can you go in really making it human and how?
No, I don't think you can
there's
fully,
only
but it's
right.
assistive.
Right.
I'm not worried
Right.
about it. But I, for one, welcome our new overlord. I have no problem with this.
And you were mentioning data. Did you hear Alec Ross? Alec Ross talks
Yes.
about,
So
and
his new book is the
future of
industry?
the workplace. No,
it's a-
shoot.
The future of work? I'm just going to guess.
it's
I'm just
not.
going to keep
No,
guessing.
you keep
Not.
guessing.
He's brilliant.
The
Alec
future
is-
of
he-
doing stuff.
He
The
deserves.
future of journalism.
They see if I had the chat room up here, they'd tell me what it
future
was
of
about.
Alec
So,
it's the
well, look it up, people. You got
Wait,
Google.
Alex Ross, the
Alec
New Yorker
Ross.
guy?
He-
Alec Ross.
Alec Ross, former aide to Hillary Clinton. What?
industries.
Industries of the future. Boom.
Industries of
That's
the future.
why
right,
we
exactly.
have a brain
Producer.
sitting over there.
Exactly.
She's AI. We're telling you Annie exists. She doesn't exist. This is a big experiment. Justin Smith, a friend of mine who is the head of Bloomberg Media, came and he's being contrarian, and I made fun of him for this, contrarian about the distributed content web. and instant articles and AMP and all this, and saying that they're taking us for a ride, the platforms, danger, danger, Will Robinson.
Really?
Yeah, so I think
Can you be more specific about what he feels?
there's definitely a point there. I'm arguing that we have to go to where the people are, as BuzzFeed does, right? I always set an example.
Yeah, but like we are at what point is a platform a publisher? That's the kind of thing where you sort of realize. There was an article recently, I think it was this week, I just can't remember what it was, but basically it said that Facebook was choosing to highlight pieces from legacy publications and not from other publications.
Well,
and that way, at what point is a platform and a publisher sort of congruent?
On this week's Twig, Leo Laporte opened up his Facebook and said, "You guys seen this?" And none of us have seen it, so he's obviously part of an A/B test, where at the bottom of his page on Facebook, it has a whole bunch of categories of content, very newsy. So politics or food or technology or whatever, and then it's curating that world for you. It's very interesting, that shifting. So I think we need more out of Facebook and Google. I think we need data out of them so they can help us strategically with our businesses.
Right.
Nonetheless, I think it's a good thing we have to play with. We have to go to where the people are.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, conversation happens, and it's harnessing conversations that are already happening, just like any other company, just like any media company. It's not brand new; it has a new form, but ultimately, it's what media has always been, which is a bunch of people gathering around and talking about stuff that they're excited about and interested in.
Right, and the merging of technology also and journalism and creativity. I just came from introducing Sri Srinivasan. You're friends with Sri, Jeff, I know.
We have Social Media Weekend coming up here at CUNY with Sri. Sri's Social Media Weekend used to be at Columbia, and we stole it away here at CUNY. If you look that up, you can still sign up. Coming up soon.
Right, and just today, so he was speaking at our Arts Hub for Creative Tech Week. And and of course Sri's background being, I think that's just such an incredible convergence. Journalism.
Sri was at Columbia School of Journalism. Now he's at the Met.
That's right.
As in charge of all their
Chief
social
Digital
stuff.
Officer at Columbia and a dean and professor or whatever for 20 plus years, and so comes out of that strong traditional journalism background, but then took this job at the Met to be chief digital museum.
Oh, that is
he's bringing amazing empty Met. Yeah, when you go before the Met opens, and he actually ends it with looking out a window where you can see all the crowds lining up that you don't have to deal with because you got there early in the morning.
Oh, the Ivory Tower.
Yes, the elite. Yeah. I know. Well, we take advantage of it. Why shouldn't we?
Yeah.
I was going to say, can I get in on that?
But the social part of and also where the people are, and to bring that to art, and where does journalism and getting the word out, and as Sri says, the story of the Met and the stories within the Met.
Was there anybody else from DLD you wanted to highlight?
Who else did I want to highlight?
So bad
I sadly, because I was busy helping run Creative Tech Week, I didn't see all of DLD, but I always appreciate Greg Harper and Dan Dubno, the Gadget Off Boys.
Yes, Dan was here last week, as we all know, and they do great things.
So they're crazy. Greg always has his, and Dan do their literally gadget off. Well, I've got this. Well, I've got this. Well, I've got, can you top this? And they've got these crazy gadgets. But at the end of the day, I think that although there's a humorous element to that, I think they both feel that, it's gadgets to really help industry and what's our future. So a lot of it is some stupid stuff, right? But there's also, some things that I think are probably going to be in our lives that we don't even imagine.
I have a question. With DLD, conferences usually are places where people, mostly it's see and be seen and get some knowledge, assuming, depending on the conference. What makes, I feel like DLD has a completely different vibe and is it because it's European? Is it because the kinds of people there, their job titles are technologist, journalist, media
yes,
people.
and yes, and yes. But I would say to that, again, what I said before, I think they do a really good job of bringing the Europeans over and really mixing with us. But also, maybe I'm just a nerd, and I know a lot of people just like to go see and be seen. I actually like to listen at DLD. I actually sit there and listen.
But the hallway is great. They
care.
loved overcrowded. They loved overcrowded. So you end up not feeling guilty, not hearing the thing because you're off talking to somebody you haven't seen in 6 months.
That's sort of what I mean by CNBC. Like, with every conference, there's like there's the session that you attend that like sort of blows your mind, and then there's like the
little high school reunion.
Conversations that you end up having that like completely change how you feel about something.
One more to mention for me is Esther Wojcicki, who's there, who is known for a few things, but primarily she runs the journalism department at Palo Alto High. And she's had some famous people.
There's a journalism department?
Not only that, she told the story of growing it from 19 students in the 80s when she started. She threw out the curriculum, decided to let the students take charge of much of the curriculum.
Is it a private school?
No, it's a public school. I mean, obviously the well-to-do part of town, and part of the country. But it now has 600 students.
Really?
In a high school.
Interesting.
It's like the largest program there is. She's amazing. So she wrote a book called Moonshots in Education. And Esther's great. And Esther is also known because her daughter, Susan Wojcicki, is the CEO of YouTube, and Ann Wojcicki is the CEO and founder of 23andMe.
Right.
Wow.
And so it's a power family, which was quite amazing. And so Esther was there. So it's a good event.
Well, and then I always appreciate the fact that they bring in the creative, they bring in the media, but they also they always have a finance, investor side, which I'm always interested in. I do wish they included, at least in New York anyway, some more women on those panels, but besides that, they did have Ellie Wheeler this year, who was awesome.
Was it all white people, the conference?
It's funny thing.
Because I was watching the video, and
with
it
Europe,
looks pretty white.
Some Europeans are not as schooled in the opportunities of broader diversity as New Yorkers are.
Right. It's sort of who we are
it's
as
harder.
New Yorkers.
But I do think they're trying.
But it's also, most conferences have this problem. It's a conference problem, and it's an industry problem. It's not.
Well, it's an underlying problem too.
It's not this specific conference.
Yes. But I do think that it's good to bring the investor, to always keep that element at the conference. So that's why I think the hallways are great, because it's a combination of the entrepreneurs, both American and European, and also the investors. And so and there's trends and looking at the future and what's going to be the big thing, and in the difference between investing in Europe and investing here, and those kinds of things, I think, are always whenever I see pitches from European entrepreneurs, I always feel like, and not so much, it's catching up a little bit, but I always felt like it's just they're not quite on it. They don't quite realize that RVCs are very ADD and need everything quickly, so it's a little bit slower. And I think just the level of the pitches has always been a little lagging, and so I feel like that's catching up now.
Yeah. Well, because we're some obnoxious.
Successes. Right.
And you've got to be as obnoxious as we are, in a sense. And this is the argument about men and women pitching, too, but put that aside. Europeans, I think, are in a similar position where they tend to be more subtle and less blunt and less demanding and less egotistical.
And
listen,
gracious in conversation and let you speak. It's like, no.
Yeah.
I just read a great piece. One of the Economist writer, who's German, spent a lot of years in America, is back in Germany, in Berlin, trying to, his children are there now, they're pretty much American, and he's saying how the Germans, I don't know if I agree with this, but he said when it comes to humor, they have no sense of irony whatsoever.
Oh, the sense of humor is really tough.
Well, the Americans have very little sense of irony too, compared to, but I guess they're even worse. So I love the line at the end is that a friend of his said, you have to speak to Germans as if they're Siri.
Oh my God.
I think it's true, but it's funny.
That's scary.
Yeah, that is funny. Well, what's interesting, as BuzzFeed has expanded into different places, they opened a bureau in Germany, and one of my colleagues, Tanner Greenring, he was there. He was in Berlin. They were launching it, and he came back, and I was like, Tanner, how was Germany? And he's like, it took me so long to figure out like the sense of humor. Like the sensibility was like almost impossible.
It's very
like
different.
their sense of humor is just completely different from ours. And oftentimes that's true of any sort of translation from any culture, where like the sense of humor, that moment where you all laugh together, is the thing that like really brings you together. And if you don't get it, there is no more outside you could feel.
I've learned that Trump jokes work well.
Oh my God.
But
I'm
that's,
sure.
that's the other thing too that's great, I think, about DLD is that, you know, started by Berta and Steffi, but also by Yossi, who's Israeli.
Yes.
So I
Who
think,
has a very weird sense of humor.
you know, say what you want, but that's just a great merging. I think that's, I
Totally.
applaud them in that.
So we've done it again.
We did it.
We've done it again.
We did it. Thank you for
having
Time to
me.
move on and thank everybody. Julia, you're wonderful. Thank
You
you for
are
coming
too.
back. And thank you for the therapy.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
needed
You
it.
can always find a safe space with me, please.
Dawn.
Thank you both.